Hello! So this is going to be a cute little lesson. I think it's a cute little lesson about side bending, how to improve side bending. So without further ado, assume the starting position, ideally on a blanket or carpet, but not on a sticky mat. To start with, please interlace your hands and bring them behind your head. And if that doesn't work well for your shoulders, you could prop up your elbows with like a big cushion. Bring yourself more comfort. Or if that doesn't work, you just go for an approximation. So that's our starting position. And notice for a moment the position you're in, which means your head is oriented straight forwards. So you have your fingers interlaced, your head resting in your hands, and as a first movement, move your hands in which your head is resting a little bit towards your right. So on a pathway that resembles an ellipse or a circle, maybe with your navel as a center point of the circle. So it's not a straight line to the right, but it's like a little bit of a bending to the right. Please keep your nose pointed towards the ceiling, so don't roll your head. So if you move your hands to the right, that means your right ear, does your right ear come closer towards your right shoulder? Does your right elbow come closer towards your right foot? Does your right side shorten? The ribs on your right side come closer towards each other, and maybe your right shoulder comes closer towards your right hip joint. So let's do this tiny little movement for a couple of times. So you take your time to move your head a little bit to the right on the pathway of a big circle and back again, and try to not do that as a movement or motion you are very familiar with, but try to look at that with fresh eyes as something you might do for the first time. Like, how would you do this movement if you would be to do this movement for the first time ever? So, and as you might have guessed, there's so many things you can look at. For example, you can also, instead of focusing on your right side that shortens, you can just as well look at your left side that is lengthening. So if you drag your head to the right on a curved pathway, your left shoulder, what is, if you focus on your left elbow, what happens with your left elbow? Your left ear in relation to your left shoulder in relation to your left hip joint. So the ribs on your left side open. They need to open when the ribs on the right side close. So we have a picture of the full chest, but of course there's a part of the chest that is sliding on the floor and a part of the chest that is in the air. And talking of air, let's also bring our attention to breathing. So while you are side bent more to your right side, of course there's more space in the left side of your rib cage to breathe in, because it's just longer, it's just more spacious. Because there's more space for air to come into your lungs, for the left part of your lungs, the left section of your lung, where your heart is most likely, suddenly has the opportunity to expand more, and you could breathe into your left side. That's how they say, breathe into your left side, and it makes sense in this position because actually there's really more space in your left side than in your right side, and your left shoulder is distancing from your left hip joint, or you could even say your left elbow is distancing away from your left foot. Let's take a break. Bring down your arms, see what state your shoulders are in, if that like hurts or if you feel just fine, and then just lie on your back and observe how that feels like to lie on your back after a couple of movements like this, and after shifting your awareness to the things I suggested, just as you're lying right now, taking the time to observe, become aware of who you are in this moment. And if you focus on your breathing, is it easier to your left or to your right? So let's find out more about this movement. Bring your right hand up, your right arm over your head, and with your right hand get hold of your left temple, and your nose, as always in this lesson, is pointing forwards towards the ceiling. Start to drag your head to the right. Please stand your right foot. So bring your right foot to standing. So the soles of the foot of your right foot is touching the floor, and your knee is pointing forwards, just as your nose is pointing forwards, and your left leg, keep it extended on the floor and start to pull your head to the right. And at the same time, the right knee stays towards the ceiling. Your right knee is pushing forwards, thus rolling your pelvis towards the left. So you roll more onto the left part of your body on the floor, so your right hip, your right buttocks leave the floor. So that's a wonderful movement, just very enjoyable by itself. But at the same time, pull your head to the right. So wow, we make a connection from your foot up through your legs, through the hip joints, through all the parts of the spine. Connecting your breathing to this movement by you're able to breathe more towards the left. You can let in more air in the left, and pulling your head to the right. You could lengthen your left arm upwards to look towards your left hand. And we want to harmonize this pattern, connect everything, and become aware of the things you have been missing in this movement, where the parts that you move together instead of differentiate. So you could initiate this movement by starting to push with your foot, but you could as well just pull your head to the right first and let everything else follow. Let it follow. Don't make it a effort of willpower, but instead a observation, becoming aware of it, aware of the ingredients. Take your left hand, put your left hand onto your left temple, and guide your head towards the right. It's not a push of your left hand towards your head, just like a guidance, so you can keep your gaze, your senses oriented towards your front, the ceiling, forwards, to explore side bending. So stand your left foot, keep your right leg extended, give a little push with your left foot so the pelvis slightly rolls to the right, while you drag your head to the right with your right hand, and you slightly guide or push your head to the right with your left hand. Please come back into the starting position on your back. Take a break on your back. Check how you feel. How does resting on your back feels now as compared to just moments before? Then please put the soles of your feet together with your knees pointing outwards, and as always, find comfort. So if it's more comfy to you to have yourself supported by pillows or rollers, support yourself. Make yourself comfy. Interlace your hands, bring the hands behind your back, so you have this configuration of your head pointing towards forwards, resting in your interlaced hands and the soles of your feet together, and then move your feet that are touched together to the right, and again on a little curve. It's not a straight line to the right, but a little curve. So that's our last ingredient, our last movement for today, the feet to the right. And you already feel it. It's just everything is connected, and your head also to the right. So move your feet to the right and your hands to the right and on that path, and try to make that smaller. Try to start with the movement and don't go too far. Just a little bit is enough. Where in your daily life does side bending occur? That's like a homework, like to observe yourself whenever you need side bending. And if you look at this motion of bringing the head towards the right and the feet towards the right, you can see that the right elbow depresses. The right elbow comes closer towards your right foot, and at the same time the left side lengthens. So it's like reaching up with your left arm or reaching down with your right arm. These are things you need like all the time. Okay, so this was the last part. Let's go, let's take a short break on the back just to see how you feel. So you could either take the opportunity and feel how it is for the next couple of hours or the next 2 days, how it is to have only done that to one side, and then do it to the other side, or just rewind the video, jump back to the beginning and do the same thing but to the left side. Whatever you decide for. If you liked the video, please leave your like, leave a comment to share your experiences with everyone else. I always read your comments. I love to read your comments. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. So this is my couch, and then